babe. In today's video, I will be discussing some tips on just how to focus on yourself. I know as women, we have a lot of responsibilities and just things that we have to tend to daily. So I just want you guys to unwind, grab a snack, grab a drink, whatever you got to grab, and let's get straight into this video. Hey you guys, I am back with another fabulous video for you all. And before we start, if you are returning, thank you so much for supporting me. And I have so much to catch you guys up on if you are new. Also, thank you for, just taking the time to watch the video. I really appreciate you guys, and hopefully you become part of the family. So I really just want to just kind of do a little check-in with you guys. As you guys know, I mentioned in my last video that I am preparing to graduate college in December, and I haven't really been posting as much because I've been trying to get my classes out of the way. But that is almost over, so I'm super happy. I just wanted to come on here and say hey to the family and just drop some tips for you guys, how we do. So yeah, like life has pretty much been, it's been interesting lately. I would say that's probably the perfect word for it, interesting. I am going to be taking a break from school after December and then going back again next fall. So that'll give me time to kind of just drop more videos for you guys and, just have more content ready. So I really do appreciate you guys for sticking with me. I really appreciate y'all and love y'all. And, we're going to get straight into the video because I got to talk to my babes. Today, we are going to talk about a very interesting topic. We are just going to talk about some ways that you can focus on yourself or bring the focus back to self, because I feel like just us as women, we have a lot of things that we have to tend to daily, and I just want us to take the load off and kind of just give energy to self, okay? So the first tip is going to be audit your environment, okay? So just look around at the people, the spaces, and influences in your life. Your environment shapes your habits. Remove anything that constantly distracts you, drains you, or pulls you away from your goals. So, when you're trying to focus on yourself, you don't want to have things pulling on your energy. And a lot of times when we go to certain places that maybe do not bring out the best in us, or we feel that those places may be draining our energy, we tend to, just kind of not have as much focus on self. So I think that's the first thing, just making sure that your environment matches the person that you're becoming. The second tip that I have for you guys, I have 6 tips, so this is number 2. And this tip is something that I'm working on. So, this is a great tip, but I put this in here just as a reminder for myself, because I feel like, when you're in this transition of focusing on self, you want to stop over explaining yourself. When you are focused on your growth, you won't have time to justify your choices to people. Learn to move in silence. Your results will eventually speak for you. So this is important because I feel like I sometimes can find myself over explaining things to people who really don't even deserve an explanation for anything. Like, I feel like once I've made up my mind, that's it, you know. And I feel like that for you guys, like, once you make up your mind, that's it. You don't have to keep explaining to people. You don't have to keep, you know, like, going back and forth with people, arguing or doing any of that. I think that that is just a waste of time. And honestly, like, just learning how to be firm on your decision and stand on it, I think that's a skill that will help you focus on yourself, because you won't be confused. Be firm on the decisions that you want to make, and, you know, don't over explain yourself and say, you know, too much on a topic and you've already made up your mind. The third tip that I have for you guys that will help you focus on yourself is to close open emotional loops. So sometimes your mind is scattered because you have unresolved situations, unfinished conversations, lingering attachments, or people you should have let go of. And refocusing often requires emotional closure. So I feel like when it comes down to closure and closing those emotional loops, a lot of us tend to look for closure. We want to talk to, you know, old people that may have been in our lives. We want to understand why those people no longer, you know, come around, or why they cut you off, or whatever it is. And I think that it's important to, of course, see where you've made your mistakes in the situation, but I do feel that it is also important to just close the chapter out and move forward on a better foot, and just like having, you know, just having excitement or being excited for that next chapter in your life. So I think that's important. I think that just making sure that you can provide the closure for yourself. And a lot of times when you go to God as well, He'll be able to provide closure for you also. So you don't necessarily have to do it on your own, but, you know, you have to know when things need to end completely. Like, you don't need to be going in these loops with friends, family, you know, significant others. Like, if the chapter is ending, babe, like, just let it end, you know. And I think that's a good way to focus on self, because you don't have those lingering attachments. You don't have those outside people that don't need to be here anymore pulling on your energy essentially and trying to drain you. Like, that's draining. So number 4, the fourth tip that I have for you guys is just to start making decisions based on your future and not your feelings. Feelings change daily, but your future requires consistency. Ask yourself, is this decision fueling my dream life? So I feel like as I've gotten more just wisdom in life, I've begun to understand the importance of not leading with my feelings, because I feel like when I lead with my feelings, it never goes the way that I planned. So now I just make decisions based off of who I want to be in the future and cultivating those healthy habits for who I want to be, right? So I think that that's important. And just thinking about your dream life, just thinking like, would the woman that I'm becoming, would she want to engage in this activity or to do this thing, or like whatever it is? Like, you just have to ask yourself that. I think that's important as far as just focusing on yourself. The 5th tip would be to create personal standards for your life. So instead of reacting to life, decide what standards decide what your standards are. And you should have standards for how people treat you, how you spend your time, how you manage money, and how you show up for yourself. This is so important because it keeps you in check. Having standards is not only for the external things in our life, but it's also to help keep us in check. And I feel that when you like work on being firm on your standards, you only get better moving forward. And that is a great way to focus on self, because it's like now you know the things that you need to do to maintain, you know, stability in your life. The sixth tip would be to reduce access to your personal life. You don't have to share everything you're building. Sometimes the best way to protect your growth is to keep certain goals, routines, and progress private. So I used to be the type of woman where I'm like, oh no, like I need everybody to see my growth. I need everybody to see what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. Like that used to be me, right? And the problem with that is just the simple fact that I was looking for outside validation. I was not in a state where I'm like, okay, I'm going to validate myself, which when you reduce access to your personal life and you only let those in who you genuinely feel like can bring positive energy to you, it is so helpful. Like those are things that have changed my life, because I'm like, okay, I don't have to let everyone in, you know, like I don't have to just, it doesn't have to be like a open gate. No, I can close the gates and just like pick and choose who I want to let into my personal life. So I think that has been really helpful, and I think it will be helpful for you guys too. Like if you want to focus on yourself, everybody doesn't need to know everything about your personal life, you know. And you guys, those were the 6 tips that I have for you all today. And I do want to end this video with a Bible verse. This is from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 11. And it reads, "Now no christening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful nevertheless. Afterward, it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." So, you know, let's just continue to move forward, push against the grain, do what we got to do to focus on ourselves and keep God first in your life as well. I really love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see y'all next time.